Hey guys, what's up? It's Chelsea, and today we're going to be making some bread. We're going to be making some vegan, gluten-free bread because I am vegan and I'm also celiac. I know, it's a hard life for me, but I have found an amazing vegan and gluten-free bread recipe. Shout out to alittleinsanity for this recipe. Disclaimer, none of this recipe belongs to me, but I have made a couple of changes just because I find these ingredients to be a little bit easier to work with, etc. I hope this video can help out some of my vegan and celiac friends out there, or if you're not and just want to try this recipe, it tastes delicious. I mean, to be honest, I can't really remember the taste of normal bread anyway, so it makes no difference to me, but I have been told by Rory that it tastes pretty good, right?
Yes,
yes.
Like cake.
2 thumbs up. Like cake?
Yeah, like if cake could be bread, that's what it tastes like.
I feel like a lot of gluten-free things do come across quite cakey. I think it's just because they're a little bit more dense. But anyways, it's really great bread, and let's get started. Oh, I forgot, wait. Rory got me this apron for Christmas, and it says vegan gluten-free. Woohoo! Which, yeah, if you know me, that's like my life in 3 letters. It's a fun life. Shout out to Julian Solomatita, I don't know his last name, Jenna Marble's boyfriend, for also being vegan and gluten-free. I see you, I respect you, I appreciate you. All right, let's go. So for this recipe, you are going to need 1.5 cups of warm water, 3 tablespoons of honey or any other vegan alternative, 2.5 teaspoons of dry active yeast, 1/4 cup of aquafaba, 1/2 teaspoon of cream of tartar, 3 cups of all-purpose gluten-free flour, 4 teaspoons baking powder, 1 teaspoon salt, 1/4 cup of olive oil, 2 teaspoons apple cider vinegar. Now that we have all of our ingredients ready, the first thing that you want to do is prepare the yeast for proofing. So I have just added my warm water to this bowl, and the next thing we want to do is add our sugar. So I have just got this maple flavored syrup from Woolworths that is gluten-free and vegan, and we're going to add that in. And it's quite a lot of sugar, but it seems to do the trick, so I'm not going to question it. Just want to add that in, give it a little bit of a stir, just until it dissolves. The next thing the recipe asks for is 2.5 teaspoons of yeast, which is pretty much exactly one of these packets. So I'm just going to pour that in now. I like to just give it a little bit of a stir just so the yeast is covered and kind of mixed in, so it's just not sitting all on the top. So once that's done, you need to set that aside for about 10 minutes and you'll see it do its thing, and you'll kind of know when it's ready. The next thing we need to do is add our aquafaba to a mixing bowl. So that is 1/4 cup of aquafaba, and literally I just have a cheap can of chickpeas, and it's literally just the water from that. If you don't know what aquafaba is, it works miracles. Then go ahead and add your 1/2 teaspoon of cream of tartar to the aquafaba. And I have the worst habit of leaving all of the doors in the kitchen open, so if they're open, that's why. So next we need to mix the aquafaba and cream of tartar. You can use a electric hand mixer for this, but I just like to use a normal hand mixer. It doesn't take that long and it gives you a good arm workout. So I'm just going to speed this process up, and we need to mix it until it forms stiff peaks. Let's go. I don't know if you can see that, but it's pretty much foaming straight away, and it hasn't even been a minute. I don't know why I'm trying to convince people to do this by hand. I just genuinely think it doesn't take that long. Okay, so that is all done. We just need to set that aside for now, but we will be coming back to it very quickly, so don't freak out. It doesn't have to be perfect. Our yeast is nearly proofed. I don't even know if that's the word for it. Proofing. Our yeast is proofing, our aquafaba is whipped to stiff peaks. Next, we need to add 3 cups of flour to our mixing bowl. This is your main mixing bowl, so make sure you pick a sturdy one. Add in your 4 teaspoons of baking powder. Kind of a lot of baking powder, but seems to do the trick. Oh my God. I will literally never learn. Add in your 1 teaspoon of salt and give that a little quick stir around. Next, we are going to add in our yeast. I'm just going to switch to a normal spoon now, just because I find it's easier to like hold onto the bowl and give it a good mix. Just made a little well in the middle. I don't know if a well is like appropriate for this recipe, but give that a good stir. This is where it kind of comes in handy to have a KitchenAid or someone helping you out with an extra pair of hands, but I only have myself at the moment, so you can do it on your own. It just is a little bit easier to have someone there helping beside you. So it should be quite doughy at this point, very sticky and still a little bit lumpy, but that is okay. Once it is all combined, that's when we want to add in our apple cider vinegar and our oil. The recipe says to add this while you're mixing it in your KitchenAid, so I'm just going to add in a little bit, give it a good stir, and then add in the rest. Beautiful. So add in the rest of that olive oil and add in those 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. 1, 2. So this is when it starts to form its cake-like consistency. It does really start looking like vanilla cupcakes. So once that's looking all nice and smooth, we are going to add in our aquafaba. Now it's really important here not to over stir, so I'm just going to fold it in very gently until it's all incorporated. Alrighty, so just keep on folding that in. I'm basically just running the spoon around the sides of the bowl, doing my best not to over stir it and keeping that fluffy air from the aquafaba. So once it is all stirred and combined completely, you'll want to prepare your dish. And I usually do this now rather than before because we do need to let it rise. So not in any rush to put in the dish. I just have I'm not too sure the measurements of this one, but I will measure it and put it up here for you to see. This size works really well for me, so I'm just gonna keep using this one. So it's honestly up to you how you want to prepare your dish. I usually just grab some Nuttelex and some flour, toss it all around, and that does the trick. The bread does not stick to the sides at all, but it's completely up to you whether you want to line it with some paper or something like that. Amazing, our dish is all ready to go. So just go ahead and pour your batter, dough batter, into the dish. Now for my least favorite part, we need to cover it up. I just use normal Glad wrap. I don't like to use Glad wrap. It's really wasteful, it's plastic, you know the deal, blah, blah, blah. But it is a lot easier just to use this. Probably had this roll for like the last year. I really don't use it that often, but it does come in handy for stuff like this. It is all done. Your cake batter slash dough is all ready to go. We need to let it rise for about 20 to 30 minutes. I usually wait for about 30 minutes, and that's usually when the dough starts to touch the Glad wrap. So I find that's a good time to put it in the oven. If you let it rise any higher than that, it might collapse and go a little bit funny. So just keep that in mind. We need to preheat the oven to 190 degrees Celsius. Once the oven is preheated and we've waited about 30 minutes for the dough to rise, I'm going to pop it in the oven. I like to keep it in the oven for about 50 minutes. That time usually works perfect for me. After about 10 to 15 minutes, you will need to put some aluminium foil over the top of the loaf just so it doesn't start to burn. The top of the bread does start to brown very quickly, and if you leave it too long, it will burn. I like to leave it 10 to 15 minutes after it's already been in the oven, just so the aluminium foil doesn't stick to the dough. But that seems to stop it from burning, and it's worked every single time for me. So let's preheat the oven, let it rise, pop it in, and see how we go. Okay guys, so it has been about 50 minutes, and if we wait any longer, we're gonna run out of daylight. Rory and I are about to go on a walk, so we kind of need this to hurry up. I started making this bread at 2 o'clock, it is now 5 o'clock, so bread takes a long time regardless to make. It takes even longer if you're filming, so apologies about the lighting, whatever. It smells so good. Does it smell good, Rory?
It smells very good.
It smells really good.
How many times have you made this bread?
My third time making it. Third time. I'd laugh if it's like completely black. Don't say that. Oh, look at that.
That is a good looking loaf of bread.
Amazing. Oh, looks so delicious. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one very soon. Bye. Turned out really good. You can keep it in your fridge, but it'll go like a really weird stale texture after a little while, so I would keep it out, not for too long though, and then freeze it if you want to make toast during the week. So good. Or just eat the whole loaf fresh. I mean, it's that good. Bye.